It's Boxing Day, the day to open up those gifts that perhaps you were able to hold yourself enough to keep up till today. I don't think I have any left. Good morning, everyone, and compliments of the season. Welcome to 55 minutes of current and relevant business talks here on Business Morning. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and we start business as usual today, where oil prices really a huge movement there. We saw that it rose on Friday after the U.S. put greater economic pressure on Venezuelan oil shipments and carried out airstrikes against Islamic State militants in Nigeria, northwest Nigeria. And I'm sure by now you heard about that. The Minister of State of Foreign Affairs was on our sister program just before now on Sunrise Daily, and he explained more about that. So we saw for this morning, Brent crude futures rose 0.21%, while WTI also went up 0.27%. So it's $62.37 for Brent and $58.51 for WTI. Both Venezuela and Nigeria are major oil producers. So while Nigeria's oil fields are mainly located in the southern part of the country, the airstrikes added to geopolitical risks, and the White House ordered its military forces to focus on a quarantine of Venezuelan oil for at least the next 2 months, indicating that Washington is currently more interested in using economic rather than military means to pressure Caracas. And banks in Nigeria have been warned, have warned their customers to be wary of fraudulent activities this seasonal festive season. Their warning was contained in emails and content on their social media pages, which advise customers to pay extra attention during this Yuletide. According to Fishing Customs, scams become rife during holidays because of a plethora of activities marking the end of the year. The methods of scams can involve criminals posing as trusted companies or contacts to steal personal information, credentials, or money via emails or messages that encourage victims to click links, provide sensitive data, or download malware. Well, warning bank customers against falling for the tricks of these fraudsters, and it's in their email, and I'm sure perhaps as a customer you have gotten one of those at this time. And then moving away from that, the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry says that insecurity, farmer-herder conflicts, and illegal mining are continuing to undermine Nigeria's business environment. The president of ACCI, Mr. Emeka Obegolu, made this known during a media parley in Abuja and warns that without urgent and coordinated action, the country risks capital flight, job losses, and declining investor confidence. He's asking for an end to open grazing through modern ranching systems, greater private sector participation in livestock management, and the use of satellite monitoring to curb illegal mining and strengthen security oversight.
Across the country, businesses are operating under increasingly fragile conditions. Incidents of banditry, kidnapping, farmer-herder conflicts, and illegal mining have disrupted transportation corridors, inflated logistics costs, displaced farmers, and endangered workers. The consequences are evident and include that some businesses have halted expansion plans. Others have suspended ongoing projects. Many have redirected their investments to safer locations within and outside the country. One of the most persistent drivers of rural insecurity remains the farmer-herder conflict, largely fueled by open grazing. This outdated practice continues to trigger communal clashes, farmland destruction, and population displacement. The Abuja Chamber of Commerce strongly supports a national transition to modern ranching systems, including the establishment of structured grazing reserves, well-designed ranching estates, feedlots, livestock development, and veterinary centers.
The Center for Promotion of Private Enterprises, CPPE, says that government needs to make domestic refining top priority for the downstream oil sector, in line with President Bola Tinubu's Nigeria First policy direction and industrialization agenda. In a statement released by its CEO, Dr. Muda Yusuf, the economic and policy think tank highlights that government policy should clearly favor locally refined petroleum products through targeted fiscal, regulatory, and infrastructural support for both public and private refineries, while actively encouraging new investment in refining capacity, while commending President Tinubu for the recent appointment of new chief executive officers for the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. The CPPE emphasized that both agencies must place domestic refining at the center of government's policy framework. The CPPE further explains that the move is not only to protect investors, but is also critical for job creation, foreign exchange, conservation, macroeconomic stability, and the development of export-oriented refining capacity. We just have to take a short break now. When we come back, it's Boxing Day. We'll be talking about the trends of gifts in 2025. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Well, it's the day for opening those boxes and gifts that are supposed to be under the Christmas tree. But I mean, in reality, I don't know how many of us wait till today to open the boxes or the hampers or the bags that have been given to us. Let's talk with an individual who is always busy wrapping those gifts that get to you at the end of the day. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Beth Urge Mercantile Limited. She's Miss Omonike George Aidu. Good to have you in the studio. Compliments of the season.
Same to you, Hini. Compliments of the season.
Please tell us, what's the gift you have been wrapping this year? Because I know people just tell you, oh, I need this to be delivered here. How has it been this season compared to last year? Let's even start from there.
So I think, first of all, compliments of the season.
What you're saying?
You are really looking Christmas-ish.
Christmas-ish.
So I would say that this year it's been a thing in terms of looking at the diverse gifting activities for the year. All right, so the approach is from 2-3 perspectives. First is family to friends. Second is friends to family. Third is businesses to businesses. All right, so from the perspective of friends to family, family to friends, so you have diverse gifts ranging from clothing, to apparels, yes, to jewelries, and all of that this year.
That's new. Yeah. Has it always been? I don't think we had this conversation last year, apparels and jewelry.
Yes, we did not, but this year, it's really trended a lot. So, and you know, when I was not considering, okay, so what's informing all of these things? And I looked at the fact that if you look at Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, okay, so the baseline speaks to physiological needs, and if you look at the second one, which is safety, the third one is, you know, social needs. So I want to gift my mother-in-law something. It's from a place of social needs, from a place of love. So I look at things that would appeal to her, things that would make sense to her. So I can look at the thing. Let me wrap a very lovely Hollandia Ankara for my mother-in-law. All right? So it comes from a place like that. Oh, I want to gift my wife something. What would I give to her? From a place of love, you want to look at, okay, so what would complement her? What would complement the beauty of my wife, you know? So you look at jewelries, you look at, you know, things like that.
But Monica, I remember us having this conversation. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And what you told me was people are focusing on the basics.
Okay,
More of food items. So that means things are better.
So I'm talking.
For people to be thinking of jewelries and apparels.
So I said to you, family to friends, friends to family. That's segment of it. But when you look at gift businesses to businesses, people, other people, maybe like churches wanting to gift members, you know, or organizations wanting to gift their members, or organizations to organizations, then it's a different ball game. Then you begin to then look at what are the basics, what are the physiological needs. So that's where this gifting of food items come to play. All right? And so for that this year, recall that last year we spoke to gift in terms of, you know, monetary, that people had to monetize the gifting. So why? Because the basic things for food skyrocketed. And people had no other option. Because if I would like to buy something, like say, rice I want to buy for you, and my budget is 50,000 naira, and I couldn't get to buy a bag of rice of 50,000 naira. And bag of rice at that time was about 120, 150, like 1,000 naira. So I would rather give you the money, the cash, 50,000. That makes sense. Go and use it to buy whatever it is that you can buy for yourself. But this year is a bit different. And thanks to the federal government for all the efforts they are doing on fiscal and monetary policy, you can see that inflation has really reduced. Especially food inflation has drastically reduced. And now people can afford rice. And in doing that, they can be able to give rice to other people. Not just rice, even vegetable oil. So the trend for this year, for businesses to businesses, businesses to people, you know, went in the direction of rice and vegetable oil. As against, you know, having to do hampers and all of that. Yes, here and there are quite a number of hampers, right? But the main thing this year is rice and vegetable oil, basically speaking to people's needs.
And I know this trend of rice started, was it last year or 2 years ago? I remember coming to your office, your warehouse, where, you know, you were, I wonder how many bags of rice you have packed this year.
So that was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
That was a trend 2 years ago. So people come to you to say, please, I have this number of people that I would like to give, you know, what do you suggest? And you suggest to them, rice is better. But last year, it was not like that. Last year was more of monetary. We couldn't do hampers because prices were really, really high. Couldn't even do rice. We couldn't even, because prices were high. Very, very few people got into the rice gifting last year. But this year, yes, you know, a lot of people, you know, did rice, both foreign, local, and of course, what you call par excellence rice.
I don't want to ask what that is. But so when you compare last year and this year, obviously things are much, much better.
Things are a lot better this year. I can tell you that. And if you've noticed, you see rice in different sizes flying all over the place in this December.
What about the taste of Nigerians? You know, looking for how to domesticate the taste of Nigerians. So in those gift items, we have a lot of Nigerian made, even if it's the rice or the little hamper that you've come across.
Okay, so even if you don't want to domesticate, you are forced to domesticate because prices of foreign items are high. And if you would like to do any hamper in that direction, if anything that would have to make sense in maybe imported gifting direction, you would have to look at maybe from 250,000 and above. In fact, this year, there are hampers as high as 1.5 million naira, all right? So, but if you now then say, okay, within the limited budget that I have, you can get nice things in Nigeria, Nigerian-made items that could, basically speak to, or if you like, appeal to your audience. So for this year, yes, the few hampers that was done with local content in mind. Yeah.
That makes it, affordable.
Absolutely.
So, outside this Yuletide and all that, what's the gift industry like? How active is it? Because, I mean, you have to live from January before you get to December.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate this particular perspective that you're bringing to it. Nigerians, we have a culture of giving. Absolutely. We have a culture of giving. And when you speak to giving, it's not just at Christmas. If you go for celebrations, parties, and all of that, hardly will you go for any party and you will not have something to take away from the party. So, gifting sector in Nigeria is from January to December. So it's not just, limited to December or November. This Christmas, just in a way, enhanced what you have to give in terms of in the spirit of the season. But I tell you that across board, from January to December, Nigerians keep giving. And I want to applaud all Nigerians for this. We are amazing at gifting.
So we have more disposable income now. What do you see following from, what we have seen in... They say January is 1 month you don't want to think about it. So it has more than 31 days. But what do you expect? Very soon December will be out. We'll start a new year, God's grace and all.
So for January, I think one of the things that I'm looking at is, yes, the celebration in December will be over. And then in January it becomes something else. You have to look at house rent,
school fees.
You have to look at school fees. You have to look at, all those diverse needs that you have to meet. But again, I think with the kind of support that people give to one another in Nigeria, it shouldn't be so much of a stress, given also the fact that the disposable income has improved this year.
And we hope it to keep improving.
I pretty much believe in the current government's policies, and I believe that coming from inflation of 34%, sometimes July last year, and now I think between 14% this month, as at end of November, of November, 14%. So it's amazing. So I want to actually commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for all the effort, and of course the CBN for all the efforts they are putting in place to ensure that Nigerians, get better at everything that we are doing.
Yeah, it's rare to hear people commend the government in Nigeria. So that's a Christmas gift. President Trump said he has given Nigeria a Christmas gift. So
President Trump is doing his own thing, and God will help us in Nigeria.
Amen. All right, thank you so much, Monica George Aidu, the Chief Executive Officer of Birth Edge Mercantile Limited. Thank you so much for your time, compliments of the season, and thank God it's a better Christmas this year compared to last year.
Absolutely a better Christmas this year, and God will continue to prosper Nigeria in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen. All right, now let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing carnivals in Nigeria. I know you know Carnival Calabar, but guess what? You also have Edo State. We'll discuss that and a lot more here on the program. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It's still Business Morning right here on Channels Television on this Boxing Day. And we say a huge congratulations to Cross River State as Carnival Calabar marks its 20th anniversary. The festival is once again proving its value beyond entertainment, emerging as a major economic driver for the state through tourism, trade, job creation. During the about 31 or 32 days of activities, there'll be music concerts, cultural shows. Also will boost Calabar's nighttime economy, increasing patronage for restaurants, hotels, and leisure centers across the state. Our correspondents there are sent in this report. Every December, Calabar, the Cross River State capital, witnesses a significant increase in visitor arrivals, with tourists coming from across Nigeria and beyond. This surge fuels demand for hotels, short-let apartments, transportation and hospitality services, many of which operate at near full capacity throughout the festive season. 2 decades after its introduction, Carnival Calabar has grown beyond a cultural festival into a dependable economic engine, empowering small businesses and strengthening Cross River State's tourism economy. Christmas Village remains one of the biggest commercial hubs of the carnival. Traders from different states converge on Calabar to sell food, drinks, fashion items, crafts and souvenirs, taking advantage of the steady flow of visitors while creating jobs for thousands.
You're free to walk, you're free to enjoy yourself. And,
the special advisor on event management, who doubles as the chairman, Carnival Calabar Festival Planning Committee, says the extended 32-day calendar guarantees sustained economic activities and income for businesses and individuals.
And we try as much as possible to concentrate to our homegrown acts. I hate calling them local acts. It's not because they can compete favorably with anyone on any stage, within and outside Nigeria. We have multi-talented young men and women that are doing exceptionally well in our dear states. We came in and met them collecting very paltry sums. But we decided that, look, we will try to encourage our sons and our daughters who are doing very well. We raise the bar. And each year we try as much as possible to increase their pay. A lot of our homegrown acts are receiving in millions. They are receiving millions, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, as the case may be, 4 million. And it never used to happen before. But every year we try to increase their pay, just to encourage them and reward them for keeping faith all through the year. And a lot of them have a lot of shows they put out every year, just to keep the state properly entertained, keep that spirit going. So for us in our state, we are very intentional about the entertainment sector.
With growing participation and sustained investment, stakeholders believe Carnival Calabar's economic impact will continue to deepen, reinforcing the state's status as Nigeria's foremost Christmas destination. And yes, we do have from Calabar what they are doing there. The chairman of Calabar Carnival Commission, Mr. Gabe Ona, joins us virtually, obviously from Calabar. He cannot leave his station at this time. Mr. Ona, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning again, Channels Television.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Mr. Ona, it's good to see your face. I remember when I was covering tourism and I used to come to Calabar every year this time, and you're still holding forth. I have run away from tourism and doing core business now, but it's good to see you, that you're still there with your years of experience on the carnival.
Thank you so much. I'm still here because Carnival Calabar has remained a way of life for us, and this is what we thought we could give to the world. Hospitality and the warmth of the people of Cross River State has remained what God gave to us and our own gift back to the world. And good to see you again.
And it's good to know that with the success of Calabar Carnival, Carnival Calabar is what is being called. We've seen a state like Edo also joining in. And this morning we're going to be having the conversation with the media representative of Edo Carnival. We have Ivy Ehibo. Ivy, good morning and compliment of the season.
Hi, Amy. Good morning. I wish you
Great.
the same.
So we see you guys are following the trend of Calabar. I hope you will sustain. They've done for 20 years now. So you've seen a lot of lessons to learn from. We saw that, I saw with the visuals of what you've done. Obviously, Edo State has a rich cultural heritage, and you made sure that you showed that during your carnival. But I wonder what the plan is when it comes to Edo, sustenance, focus, and all that.
Oh, well, for the Edo Carnival, you're very correct. We have learned a lot from the Calabar Carnival. This is a first of its kind in Edo State, and it is courtesy the Edo State government in collaboration with Peak Rendezvous Global Entertainment Limited. And we just wanted to create something really beautiful. And your question is very correct, because we decided to do the carnival, right, as a way to celebrate culture, but also maybe even more importantly, as a way to drive economic growth in the state. We have a lot of entertainment and cultural value, and we did think that doing something like this would find, a way to make sure that people in the state gain from it positively in terms of the economy. So financially, we have been driving, financially and economically, we have been driving a lot of growth. There has been a huge rise in purchase of food items. SMEs are obviously at this point being some of the best and recipients of this beautiful initiative. Lots of small, medium enterprises are getting to sell out their food products. Hotels have been fully booked in the past few days. In fact, a week too, we had hotels fully booked here in Edo State. We had food vendors coming together and selling out all of their products, including art and crafts. As you can see, one of the features of the carnival would be our float, and a lot of artists came together to put that together. And, they were very well paid, right? They were very well paid, and they are earning a lot of money. Of course, for the planning of the carnival in general, we did have a lot of artists. We had a lot of event decorators and event planners who we have created jobs for through the advance of this carnival.
So Ivy, one of the things that I know Calabar talks about is sustenance, and not just every end of the year these individuals and businesses are engaged, but also keeping them engaged throughout the year. I wonder what Edo is doing about that.
Okay, so we have a lot to learn from Calabar. In fact, we have been learning. And that is why, as you can see through our carnival displays, our parades, there is a bit of a similarity, because they have been doing this, as you said, for 20 years. And that is incredibly admirable. It is such a tough work. It is such tough work to put this kind of big event together. But we are currently working on sustainability. We're working on sustainability, especially for the small, medium enterprises. And we're working on having micro events that lead to the carnival, some sort of micro events, some sort of campaigns and activations where these vendors and these talents can gain some sort of relevance economically. And also, we do think that there's sustainability on two fronts, right? There's sustainability for the businesses that get to collaborate with us in the carnival, and then there's sustainability for the carnival in itself. So this is our maiden edition. We are learning, and we are trying to put in the work to make sure that vendors and people who we've contracted to do a lot of things for this carnival get that continually. So we are planning to start to host activations and small campaigns leading to the climax of the carnival, which will happen every end of the year. So of course there are plans in the pipeline to make sure that every single person who participated in this carnival gets to gain from it, not just for this year, but for months after until the end of year, every time we get to host the carnival.
Yeah, let me come to Mr. Ona now. So you have younger ones now, you have younger siblings. One of them is Edo State, and obviously Ivy has said it there, how they're looking at you, the steps you've taken, of course, learning from some mistakes you've made and how you've come out of it. Now, for this 20th edition, you guys are, well, obviously so proud about it. And you say you have a wonderful lineup. I wonder who else or what else you are including in this 20th edition of Carnival Calabar.
Thank you so much. Firstly, I'd like to welcome our Edo brothers to endorse this sector at all. And in the past, Edo, they've been here. We expect that they'll be on the road today for the cultural parade. And Delta also, Delta State, they've been here also to learn from us with every sense of humility. This is a sector that caters for everyone. But above all, I would like to say thank you again to Channels TV because you've been there for us. You've been at our flag-offs in the last 20 years. The festival itself, as the special advisor said earlier, the special advisor for events management, who also doubles as the chairman of the festival. Well, I manage the carnival component because the carnival is the biggest product and the trademark for our heritage effort. We are playing the theme Traces of Time this year. And what the governor, who is incidentally the executive producer, has done is to look back in time, to appreciate our forebears, our leaders, those who have sustained this sector, those who have curated this sector, those who have driven policies to sustain this sector. But above all, we always say, for any successful tourism initiative to work, the three pillars, the product, the community, and the stakeholders. These are the three pods that will make it stand and outlive us. For responsible tourism to be sustainable, it has to be brought under this unique umbrella. And we've been very careful. We've been blessed with a community that is welcoming, that is willing to learn. You've just used the right word, younger brothers. Apart from our neighbors in our zone trying to get to where we are, internally here, our younger ones must also get up and embrace this sector, and this is what we have seen. It has been a tough 20 years. The Edo lady just shared, so it's not easy to galvanize 1, 2, 3 million people on a 12-kilometer route, and there is seeming calm, you know. But above all, it is a means to an end. And what we tend to achieve in this sector is to ensure that our people benefit from this. This is our own oil well, our heritage, our culture. Our people are gifted with this warm embrace they offer visitors. And the young leaders of the new Cross River in the turn of the millennium, 1999, said, can we walk into this? Then we introduce the concept, introduce the institutionalization of it, and dedicating staff, personnel, and offices with training with international framework. The only thing you cannot get from outside is what you are made of, the lifestyle of your people, which is our culture. And the commodity of culture is where we are headed to. Do we continue to play arts for arts, or present arts for arts, or we commodify it? That is where we are headed to. So far, so good. And the governor also has expanded by introducing the Cross River State Carnival Diaspora Band. Cross Riverians who are living outside our shores, and other brothers in the diaspora who are in search of their roots will come now to invoke the roots icon of tourism to know their home. And one of the greatest pull factors is the culture, which the Americans call the soft culture, the soft power. With these other things can occur. Today, I am pleased to tell you that First Bank is unveiling a VIP booth that can seat 200 people. That is the PPP we've been looking for. We've been canvassing this, that in the 12-kilometer carnival route, the private sector now needs to come on board and take ownership of the opportunities that has been provided. And that is what a responsible government would always strive to do, to provide the enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. And this falls under stakeholding, because government has no business being in business. And the only thing government can continue to do is to protect the sector, protect those who play in them, create laws and policies. And we have the blueprint, we have the framework, we have the master plan, and we have the laws. And this is why we've taken it this far. But above all, the fish head has been great. The fish head since the last 5 governors have been great. All the governors that have come here embrace the carnival. The present governor seated here now is driving the 20th anniversary initiative. He's putting everything in there. You know, I have sat here for 24 years and I've never had it this great. The job creations we are talking about, we inherited about 2,000-3,000 bedrooms as far back as 2000 and 2003. Today, the bedrooms you and I can say stay in Calabar, Greater Calabar, we can call it now, is about 27,000. Then not to talk of the direct job employment by the carnival bands, wire bending, costume making, makeup, and of course choreography. You know, then the pure water sellers on the route. And this is going on for 30 days. The festival village was unveiled after the trail lighting on the 30th. You know, and the footfalls we have seen here in the city of Calabar is something else. So the carnival remains a pull factor because we're experiencing an oversupply of our tourism sites already. So when they come to Carnival Calabar, they'll make a decision now to take on Obudu Mountain Resort, take on Agbokin Waterfalls, take on Marina Resort, take on the other exciting opportunities, including our wildlife sanctuary. You know, so it remains a pull factor. And we are happy to have this with the Ministry of Creative Economy. We have received a lot of overtures, you know, for a strong synergy so that this can radiate. If United Nations, if UNWTO have identified this area as a low-hanging fruit for our boys and girls, then we cannot continue to wait. You need zero qualification to participate in the tourism sector, provided you can smile, provided you can embrace, and this is what we have experienced in Calabar in the last 2 decades.
All right, Mr. Oda, let me ask this, and I'm glad that you welcome your younger brothers who are coming on, the Edo, the Delta states. But, this carnival, the Carnival Calabar runs for about 31, 32 days, like all through December, even up to the new year, the first couple of days in the new year. Now, we have these other states coming up also. As a country, we talk of having activities for Dirty December and having it coordinated. Now, as a country, how do you suggest that we handle when many states are now having their carnival, because everybody will want to do it about the Christmas period. That's when people are off work and can attend. So how do you suggest that as a country, we coordinate our calendar, you know, for Dirty December, for carnivals, so that it's not so much of a competition and uncoordinated event for the season?
Thank you so much, Dwayne the Spirit. There is need for collaboration, not competition. In tourism, we plan and operate through specials and circuits. We are gradually getting there. Luckily for us, when we flagged off Carnival Calabar and the festivals, we quickly got registered in the trademark office in Europe, and we are currently accredited to 72 countries of the Madrid Protocol. So what we do is that we run in circuit. The carnivals of the world have listed Carnival Calabar as one of the best carnivals being managed and operated by people of African descent. So our date was carefully diarized not to clash with other dates. Coming back home here now, as we begin to experience the Dirty December events across the country, we will have to sit down during our reviews to say, can we have people come to Edo in Easter? After Easter, or in February for Valentine, and after that, they come to Edo for Easter. After that, they go to Lagos before Christmas. Since Lagos, Dirty December starts right before Christmas with the musical shows, then they come to Calabar for the road march, or drive to Owerri, or drive to Port Harcourt. You know, we spread these dates. We need to sit down now and develop a dedicated circuit so that we can cooperate. People who were in Lagos last year, we want to see how Calabar is. People who were in Calabar this year would like to see how Owerri or Edo or Delta look like. So it will be more offering. You will be spending less to gain more. But all those in this cooperative circuit now would have been benefiting. And of course, the artisans, the guilds will benefit more. So this is a wonderful observation and question. We'll be working on it. You know, we need to spread, even within the West African sub-region. We've received overtures from Ghana, from Liberia to help them anchor their carnivals. And we've told them that we need not to clash because our carnival is already receiving international arrivals, you know. And the man who came in from Ukraine or who came in from London, who came in from Italy, would want to see Accra, you know. But if you hold it at the same period, we will not be in trouble. So luckily for us in Nigeria, we have the numbers already. So it's to work hard to see how we can sit down and judge. Luckily, the Ministry of Creative Economy, the DG NTDA, the DG NCAC, my brother and friend Obi Asika, they have been very conscious, and we should sit on a round table, you know, in the first quarter, you know, and begin to flesh out some of this, and so that we can get it right. Then there will be period to learn. We need to bring them on ground to see the way our security is developed and visit our brothers too, who want to develop this and get it right, so that they learn from our lessons. They don't make our mistakes.
All right, Mr. Ona, thank you so much. Ivy, just before we conclude this segment, what's the plan for Edo State? Talking about the sectors involved, those are already cut out, but making use of more of locally produced raw materials, domestic or local talents, you know, because that's what will make all of this more impactful to the people of the state.
Right. So thank you very much for that question. And before I answer, I would like to say that I absolutely agree with Mr. Ona's stance as it regards collaboration and not competition. So now to answer, when it comes to creating impact with the Edo Carnival here in Edo State, we have been very specific on using majorly our talents and then using locally produced materials. In fact, a lot of the things that we use, a lot of the materials that we use to create our float, to create the outfits, even down to the talents, the makeup artists, the tailors, the choreographers, a lot of them are of Edo indigen. And for persons who are not even from Edo State, a lot of them live here in Edo State. So we're trying to make sure that the money and that the economic impact, you know, directly affects Edo people in general. Because whilst the plan of the carnival was for unification, we also need to make sure that the people here in the state get to feel the impact. And that's one thing that I'm very grateful to this current administration for. It is very Edo-centric. It is very, very focused on making sure that Edo people shine. That is why, in fact, there's a very popular slogan that says, Edo is shining. And this parade, the carnival in general, has just been evidence of that. So, of course, we are working to make sure that everything is Edo-centric as much as we can possibly implement. The hotels, obviously, they're fully booked. There are, you know, lots of Edo people who are going to be benefiting from that as well. There's obviously the fashion part of things, the makeup, the clothing, down to choreography, down to art and craft. A lot of these things will be made here in Edo. In fact, are currently made here in Edo. And in the aspect of sustaining businesses, we currently have a few policies in the pipeline where we can get to do a more structured vendor registration, a more structured organization. In fact, maybe try to create a community of business people who would be our go-to in times like this. So I also mentioned earlier that we're working on small activations, small policy, small activations, rather small campaigns here and there that we can use to build vendors' participation and to make sure that these people do not just, get to experience the impact of this carnival just now, but also continue to experience it months after now. We're also, of course, calling on the private sector to come and take part of this beautiful initiative. Edo-based businesses, businesses who are interested in the Edo culture. And whilst we're doing that, we're also going to make sure to maintain the cultural aspect of things. We obviously want to make sure that it is a very collaborative effort, but at the same time, make sure that our culture remains the focal point of the celebrations and of the carnival in general. So of course, there are plans to make sure that this is as impactful as possible for Edo people.
All right, Ivy, and we say congratulations for at least starting it. I think that's the most difficult part, and then you now talk about sustaining it. Ivy Ehibo is media representative at Edo Carnival, and then we have from the fathers of Carnival in Nigeria themselves, Carnival Calabar, we have the chairman, Calabar Carnival Commission, Mr. Gabe Honor. Both of them joined us on this segment of the program. Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. IB, we are waiting for you in Carnival Calabar on the 29th. Come and see for yourself and learn.
You cannot wait to experience it.
Ini, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Ini, thank you so much.
Welcome, Big Brother. Big Brother Carnival. Well, that's it. One state learning from the other. It's a way to go and make progress for us as a country. Let's head to the global scene now and see what's happening in the global scene at this time. Yeah, so let's see what's happening in the global scene. We're beginning with oil. Oh, not just oil, commodities generally. The numbers are crazy this morning. Well, oil is headed for the biggest weekly gain since late October. Traders are tracking partial U.S. blockade of the crude shipments from Venezuela and the military strike by Washington. That's in Nigeria. Global benchmark we see traded above $62. And more than 3% higher this week, while West Texas Intermediate crude was near $58. On Venezuela, a sanctioned tanker pursued by U.S. forces turned away from South American nation as the Trump administration piled pressure on them. And then still talking about commodities, but another type of oil, that's palm oil. Palm oil today continued to climb for a fourth session, reaching its highest level in 2 weeks. On the back of increased demand for Malaysian products. Exports from second largest grower Malaysia rose 1.6% month on month during the first 25 days of December. And then India was top buyer with 279,550 tons imported. That's 66% rise compared to the same period in the previous month. And then gold and silver, this is like the third time this week. Gold and silver, they're surging to fresh record highs as investors flock to safe haven assets amid escalating geopolitical tensions and weakening U.S. dollar. And that extends a powerful year-end rally in the precious metals. You know that apart from the geopolitical issues, there's also the weak dollar. So spot gold was last up 0.6%, 4,506.76. An ounce after jumping to a new record peak of 4,530 per ounce in the earlier day. U.S. gold futures for February delivery rose 0.7% to $4,537.55. Gold prices were set to jump nearly 3% this week alone. Investors are seeking protection against that rising global uncertainty. Spot silver prices also surged more than 4% to hit a record high of $75.14, and it's set to jump, analysts expect it to jump about 7% by the end of the week. So we'll see what happens at 1:30, see if there's any more movement on these commodities. Also, copper is also surging. It hit a record high in Shanghai and rallied in New York, adding to substantial annual gains as investors bet on tighter global supplies in 2026, while also pricing in the impact of the weaker U.S. dollar. That's also a major factor. In China, prices gained 2.7% to 98,780 yuan. That's about $14,000 a ton on the Shanghai Futures Exchange, while contracts rose 3% to hit 5.743 a pound on the COMEX. For the U.S. benchmark, that's the highest since an unprecedented short squeeze in July. The London Metal Exchange will reopen on Monday, so we don't have numbers from that. They're on break now. And China's Statistics Bureau revises down. That's moving on now, away from the commodities. The size of China's economy in 2024 has been revised down to 134.8 trillion yuan. That's about 19.23 trillion naira in nominal terms after final verification. And this is according to the country's Statistics Bureau. The final gross domestic product was placed at 101.8 billion yuan. That's lower than the preliminary data, according to the Bureau. In July, the country's state planner said that the Chinese economy will exceed 140 trillion yuan this year. But obviously that has changed now. It's been revised down. And we're still in China today. They said that they will continue to regulate crude steel output and prohibit the addition of illegal new capacity between 2026 and 2030. If you remember, in 2021, the world's largest steel producer and consumer, they put an end to growth in crude steel output as part of a plan to limit carbon emissions. Now, the mandated output control also came as domestic steel consumption has hit by a protracted property market downturn. That's a major story this year from China, and left the industry plagued with overcapacity. So in the first 11 months of this year, China's crude steel output fell 4% from a year earlier, keeping the annual total on track to fall below 1 billion tons. And that's the first time that's happening in 6 years. We're still in China. The country has officially launched a national venture capital fund. And the 3 large regional funds together worth billions of dollars. It's part of a push to foster homegrown tech champions and improve investment efficiency. The National Startup Investment Guidance Fund, as well as the 3 vehicles covering the Beijing region and some other one, also the River Delta and the Greater Bay Area, they start operation today, according to authorities in China. Moving over to Japan. Japan plans to reduce sales of government bonds during the fiscal year that's beginning in April. They're focusing on cuts to super long debt. Total issuance of government bonds to institutional investors through auctions, they say, will be at about 168.5 yen, a trillion yen, that's about $1.8 trillion, a reduction of 3.8 trillion compared with the initial plan for the previous fiscal year. This is according to the Ministry of Finance from Japan. And we're still in Japan, where industrial production fell more than expected in November, while retail sales posted modest growth, highlighting an uneven economic recovery as weak overseas demand continues to weigh on manufacturers. Industrial production declined 2.6% month-on-month in October, more than expectations for a 1.9% decline, and reversed from 1.5% rise in October. The data underscores persistent pressure on Japan's export-oriented industries. That's Global News. And that's it on Business Morning. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Looking at those commodities, the copper, platinum, gold, silver, we'll see which way they go at 1:30 during Business Incorporated. I'll be back to have a Boxing Day business conversation with you. I'm John Mekwa.